Good morning everybody, welcome to this week's Talking News from Lennoxtown Primary School, this week brought to you by Miss Linscale. I know you're used to seeing the glamorous Mrs Coughlin, but today I will be bringing you the week's news and anything that we've been covering in school. It's the 10th of September, just in case you're watching this on playback and aren't sure which week it relates to. So, to start with today, obviously we've had quite a lot of phone calls regarding the COVID cases rising and parents concerned about, their children having COVID or showing symptoms and taking them for PCR tests, etc. We want to just reassure you that there are very tight procedures in place. We've sent out a lot of communication regarding that, so hopefully everybody's quite clear on that now. But if you do have any questions, feel free to call us. We want to normalise it as much as possible. We don't want to scare children or worry them at all. COVID is something that's going to be here to stay, and we need to normalise it as much as possible and just try and get on with life as best we can. So obviously sticking to facts, making sure we're following precautions. We've still got lots of cleaning going on in school throughout the day, encouraging the children to wash their hands obviously, social distancing, bubbles for playgrounds, etc. So it's just to reassure you that everything's still in place in school as it was before the holidays, and that will continue for the foreseeable future. But everything else is as normal, and just trying to keep children nice and calm and not worry about something that's going to be around for as long as, as it may be. Okay, moving on to labelling. So a lot of you have been losing jumpers and cardigans and jackets and things like that, so we would urge you to label everything. The cheapest and quickest way to do it is to purchase a permanent marker. The famous Sharpies are always good, and just to make sure your child's initials at least are on labels. Care labels is a good place to do it with a permanent marker, then it doesn't wash off. You can also purchase labels online as well, so if you wish to do that, that's great, but as long as your child's things are labelled, we'll be able to get them back to the rightful owner super quickly, which is important. Obviously it is the September weekend coming up shortly, and we will be closed on the 24th and the 27th of September, and we would urge you after September weekend to make sure that your children come in every day to school with some kind of jacket or warm piece of clothing, as it will be getting cooler. Also, obviously, to dress for the weather. We've had very obscure weather at the moment. One day it's 30 degrees, the next day it's pouring with rain, so making sure that your child has got suitable footwear is obviously important. We do encourage the children to go out at break and lunch regardless of the weather. It's really important in Scotland that we get children outside as much as possible for the vitamin D, etc. So making sure that they've got suitable shoes and even a change of socks if they're a child that likes to jump around in puddles. We do have a stock in school, but obviously it is limited and it may run out. So moving on to pupil voice. So this week in Assembly we are launching our Eco Committee. The lovely Mrs Mackay in Primary 6-7 will be leading the Eco Committee this year, and that's all in the context as well of COP26, which is the United Nations Convention for Climate Change, which will be hosted in Glasgow, for those of you who aren't aware, in the next couple of months. So we will be launching our Eco Committee, and we'll be inviting children to apply for that role, and there'll be a couple of children from each class invited. They will be able to apply, and then they will be invited to take part in the group, which will meet every couple of weeks to discuss all things eco in our school and try and encourage really healthy habits to look after our environment. So look out for that. We're also going to have a playground committee that will be launching. Since I've started at Lennoxtown, a lot of the children have expressed ideas about the playground and things they'd like to improve about our playground. So that is something that we will also be encouraging children to have their voice heard through another forum for them. So that will be initially led by me, and we'll look to maybe raise some funds for the playground later in the year as well. So watch this space. We had our house captains announced last week, so we have our primary 7 pupils have been identified, and they will be really busy and active around the school, encouraging their children in their house to have a voice and get involved with different activities. Obviously COVID restrictions have limited what we can do last year and this year, but we'll try and do as much as we can with the restrictions that apply. We will also be looking maybe at having a teaching and learning committee and a pupil council as the year goes on. So there'll be lots and lots of opportunities for children to share their great ideas, because at the end of the day, this is what we're here for. We're here for the children, and we want to hear what they would like to make their school better. In addition to that, myself and Mrs. Coughlin have been going around the classes, and we've been asking children about their learning, finding out what they enjoy, what they find a bit more difficult, and we will be working as a staff on responding to those as well. Now, moving on to nurture and well-being. As you know, in our school we put nurture and well-being at the heart of everything that we do. And for the last 4 years, the Pupil Equity Fund have been used to support the nurture agenda and encourage pupils to take part in different activities and groups around well-being. So we've had groups running last year which have involved children, circle of friends and things like that, and the Pupil Equity Fund has funded that, which has been fantastic. It's really developed our children's confidence, their resilience, and just made them happier in general. Luckily this year we have been able to extend this a little bit, and East Dunbartonshire Council have funded a nurture teacher, which means that we'll be able to extend the support that we provided last year in terms of the small group support. We'll be able to extend that further and have longer periods for children to have targeted interventions to support them with their well-being and with their learning. So that's really, really positive. However, we need your help, because obviously, as much as the children's views are really, really important to us here at Lennoxtown, your views are equally as important as families and carers and parents of the children in our school. So later on today, we're going to be sending out a text alert with a link, and that is for a short questionnaire to gather your views about how you think we should take nurture and well-being of our children forward in Lennoxtown. Obviously we've been putting our heads together as a staff and we have some of our own ideas, but we would love to have your ideas as part of that, along with the children who we've been asking, to then create the best package for our children throughout the school and our families. So please look out for that link. It won't take long to complete. It's just a tick box exercise, and there's opportunity for you to type in your ideas as well. So we would really encourage you just to click on the link, have a look at the questions, share your views, and then that will really support us to making sure that our school is adequately meeting the needs of all of our children, and that your voices are heard too. So I think that's everything for Talking News this week. It's a quick one, just a wee 8 minutes. If there's anything that you want to discuss based on what I've shared today, or if there's anything that's concerning you, as we always say every week, please do get in contact. Myself and Mrs. Coughlin would be happy to help, and all the staff are doing their absolute best to support every child in the best way that they can. We are happy to hear from anybody. So just get in touch if you need anything, and I hope that's all very clear, and we'll see you next week. Okay, take care. Bye everyone.